Hello everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Studio. Thank you for stopping by. I have been challenging myself to make a journal and the ephemera that goes into it and the decorations totally out of junk that I've collected. And there's different ways of doing this. You can take your junk and then you can add to it, things in your stash like images or other papers and combine it all together, and that is a legitimate way to use your junk. But what I've been trying to do in this series is trying to use nothing but junk, nothing but things like magazines and packaging and tags on clothing and all this kind of things. So that's been the challenge. And today I am going to wrap it up with 3 more pieces of ephemera and some techniques that I'm using to do it. The last video had 3 pieces of ephemera, and I'll link down below the playlist for this in case you're interested. And it's a fun challenge, and I think it stretches you as a creator to work with just what you find and what you have. It's a really good exercise. Today we're going to be doing a collage strip. We're going to do a technique with tissue paper, and we're going to decorate packaging and clothing tags. So let's get started with the first one. This next technique, it was inspired by these strips that, well, this is from the Graphics Fairy premium site, but I think Tim Holtz does something very similar where you have just different images all collaged together on to make a strip collage. So it's kind of been inspired by that. And so what I'm taking here is I'm taking one of those really large mailers. I think it like 12 by 5.5 or something. And I'm cutting them in half. And I did, before I cut them, I did put a bunch of newsprint or pages on the back of it. And then I will put some gesso down there to be able to write on it. But if you were going to make something that you weren't not going to write on, maybe you're going to make a pocket, maybe make a belly band, you probably wouldn't have to do that. But I did that just to make these as journaling cards eventually. So that's what I did, and then I cut it in half. And like if you're going to make a belly band, then you may want to cut it in thirds, not quite so thick as this. But whatever width you would like, just cut them out that way. Then I went through the magazine, and I just got a bunch of images that were small. They weren't well, they don't have to be small on purpose. You can probably just cut part of an image out, and I just made them into at least wide enough, or tried to make it wide enough for my strip. This way it didn't matter, but I did try to fit it on. However, there were some that I could not, which is fine, because what I'll end up doing with that is I'll just put in like another image or something to make up for that rest of that. Or I might even keep the image that's on the card. And then after that, I went through and I made a stamp. So this is a good time to use your stamps to kind of break up the images of the magazine. So I put this butterfly on this is a magazine page, it's just happened to be plain in that area, and I put it on a stamp. I found a word that I think I'd like to include in there, and I also made up my own verbiage. So this is a strip that came from the edge of a book page that happened to be all plain, and I just cut that down. Got my little letters out and just kind of made my own word. So if you can't find words to put in there, then just make your own words. Then after that, I made a whole bunch of little strips, like probably 1/4 of an inch, maybe slightly more, like little narrow washi tape. I made a whole bunch of those out of the book pages. Of course, you can use anything. You could, use magazine paper. And I made some little strips like that. And so I kind of made this sort of a garden theme. I like gardens, so that's kind of what I did. And I just merely went through, and I'm just going to glue on these different images. Okay, once I have all my images on here, and I tried to make them a little varied as far as size goes. It was a little hard because I ended up seeming to cut the same size, but I tried to make that a little different as we go down. I still have my garden here, but what I'm going to do now is right here in between where the different layers meet is where I'm going to start putting in a little bit of this paper here. Now I don't have to because I think there would be like a really good it's good contrast. I think you can pretty much make out most of it. I might put in my garden board. Now when I went to stamp this out, I started here, but I did not allow myself enough room here so that I could put it in the middle. So I would suggest you start your, give you plenty of room on each side of your word so that you can move it around the way that you think it looks best. And let me just put that word down here. And I think this is a good place for it to kind of be a division there. And I'm just going to go through. And I'm going to put on these little strips. I think I'll lay them down first just to see how I like that idea. Okay, there is the finished strip. I love it. I think it looks really, really nice. Now I could even cut this to be a little bit more narrow perhaps and make a belly band out of it. I can make a tuck spot in my journal. If I didn't care for the whole strip, I could cut off sections of it, and I could make a tag out of part of this. If I had like a tall and skinny journal, I could make a big long tag out of it. So that is an idea, and the paper strips here help to cover up sometimes the unevenness of your gluing the two images together, and having words kind of break up the whole design there. So I love this idea. I think this turned out really good. So that is another way that you can transform your junk into treasures. For this project, you'll want to take your magazine image and mount it on some cardstock. And so this is the image, and I've just glued it on here with my glue stick. And I let it dry a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so. And you're going to need a gel medium or a Mod Podge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use the Mod Podge, but anything that you have for decoupaging would be fine. You can also use white glue and water it down just a little bit and use that. Then you're going to need a napkin, but you do not, I'm not going to be using the printed side of the napkin. I'm going to be using that side or the layer that you peel away. Sometimes there's 3 layers, sometimes there's 2, and you'll want to peel away that layer that's pretty much plain. This particular layer had some echoing, if you can see the echo from the dye on the napkin, and I like that. I think that's really, really nifty. But it's light enough to where the image will still come through. So you can also, I haven't used this, but I'm thinking maybe even tissue paper you use to wrap gifts in would work with this. So anyways, and we're just going to just basically Mod Podge it on, or glue on that first layer. So we'll just go over it with a coat. And you'll want to place it down very gently, little by little, like that. Now there's going to be some wrinkling, and I would not stress over that. That's just sort of the nature of the tissue. But we're just going to do that, and then we're going to, of course, lightly go over that again, very lightly, with a little bit more Mod Podge, just a little bit more. And maybe check out where we didn't have enough there for it to seal. Okay. And you don't want to be too aggressive because it's easy to tear this. However, if you do tear it, you can patch it up with another piece of tissue, and put that over the hole you tore and patch it up that way. So here we go. Now this will, of course, it will naturally curl up like that, but this needs to dry, and it needs to dry very, very well. So you can use a blow dryer and see how that works, but it does have to dry before you move on. So right now it looks very muted, and there will be a muted element to it, but as it dries, the image underneath will become brighter. And I like using this method because when in the end, and so I have one here that is already dried, and let me show you that one. When it's done, it gives you this there's like brush strokes from your brush, and it kind of gives it more of a painted element to it. And so here is the project with the bicycle. I made it into a tag, and I had put this onto cardstock and leftover scrappy cardstock, so it kind of was junk, I guess, and little bit of cloth in the front of it, a little word that I found in the magazine as well, so you can kind of see the little echo of that butterfly. I thought that was really cute. But that is just something else that you can do to kind of take down the glossiness of the magazine image and kind of transform it a bit. So this next one is pretty straightforward. It's the packaging that a lot of our supplies will come with, and there's really not a whole lot to be done here, but just to decorate it. And it's pretty straightforward, but I wanted to give you some tips here to maybe help you out and maybe give you ideas you haven't thought about. First of all, though, the surfaces of much of this packaging has sort of a glossy coating on it, and so just lightly sand it, because that will really help the glue to stick to it. If that's what you're doing, if you're gluing things to it, it'll cut down on that shininess as well. Now it will scuff up your surface a little bit, so you have to judge that, how much of that surface that you're going to let show. But just a real light, it's a very light sanding. I'm going to cut this down to the size that I want. So here's the size that I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and keep this little decoration down there. I just cut off the main part, and I went and I stamped some images on cardstock, and then I cut them out. And I like doing this because this really helps with dimension. It kind of gives it a little added pizzazz to it, and then I can arrange these the way I like. Now you can definitely stamp directly onto there, but I really do like doing this. This glue, this one here called Scotch Create, and this one here actually says that it's good on the package. It actually said it was good for fabric. Now I use both of these. Both of these are a permanent glue stick, and they both, for paper, behave the same, and I like them the same. This just has that added phrase on it, which I'm hoping will work. And so I'm going to give that a try. Now I will let this set for a few hours and then come back and see how well it has glued. But I just thought I would do that to just experiment with it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this. I'm going to use this because there's these nice fall colors, and I'm just going to glue the fabric directly and glue some of it down here. Yep, I'm going to do both, and then we'll just put down our fabric on the edge there. Now it is adhering very well, I have to say. Quite well. Yeah. Yep. It grabbed it right away, so that's a good sign. That's a real good sign. So let's just trim that off. Like so. Okay. So I have these fun fall colors. This is the Tim Holtz fabric. And now I'm going to go ahead and glue on my leaves. So our tag is finished, as far as the decoration goes with it. But now I want to add one more element to it. Now there's lots of little clothing tags that are small like this, and they're cute just to use as they are. But I like to do I like to build up on the tag and add a little bit more to it if I possibly can. And I like to save the strings that were on the clothing here. So I'm saving, I saved this string here, and this I'll be using that. And I'm going to put a little cute little thing over this like so. So let's go ahead and glue that fabric down. Over that. And or you could use paper, or you can use whatever you got just to cover up the verbiage that might be on your tag. So we've got fall, and I might, let's see, I cut out this wood from a magazine. Okay, now I'm happy with that. So that was just, I just wanted to do that with you and kind of give you some ideas on decorating your tags. So that really turned out very cute. Okay, here's our 3 projects that we worked on today and made out of totally junk. This is so much fun to challenge myself. I did want to revisit the fabric here, and it's been a few hours since I glued it down, and it's really glued on there very well. I'm very pleased with it. I think that I am going to start using that glue stick for fabric, especially on small projects like this. And I think it's going to adhere very well. I like it. I know when it went on, you know, it went on right away. So it did hold up well. So anyways, thank you so much for visiting. And now next week, I wanted to say that the next video, I'm going to have a winter themed freebie for you. So you want to come back and check that out and subscribe, please, and like the video. I appreciate that so much. And I just appreciate you taking the time out and joining me. And I just really want to thank you for all your support. We'll talk to you later. Bye.